I don't have many haters anymore.
I
For
just
a while,
bought
I did,
this
about a year ago.
entire grocery list, which includes
The average American reaches for their phone 344 times a day, consuming around 34 gigabytes of content and 100,000 words of information. That's like watching 8 movies and reading a Hunger Games book. And it's not that surprising, after all, our little rectangular binkies make the mean head voice go quiet. And if you clicked on this video, there's a good chance you're not one of the completely mindless NPCs that walk the earth, that just constantly fry their receptors with Netflix, TikTok, and Sidemen videos. In fact, you may believe that the majority of the information you consume is valuable. You're learning, you're staying up to date, you're being motivated, but your consumption of this seemingly valuable, or at least neutral, information may not only be completely wasting your time, but more importantly, destroying your mind. As soon as I had access to the internet as a kid, video games, YouTube videos, and chicks getting railed filled my screen on the daily. And for the next 10 years, my content consumption matched Lizzo's calorie consumption. And then a couple years ago, I realized I sucked. In all ways, I was in shambles. I was addicted to porn, I re-addicted myself to video games, I was wasting my life away, I wasn't hitting any of the goals I set, and I realized that I was on a path that if I remained on would lead me to a life that many people have, but it's a life of mediocrity, and I would remain in that until I died. So after deciding that that is cringe and I don't want to do that, I pivoted my content consumption towards self-development. I began watching countless self-improvement videos on YouTube. Every task I did throughout the day, I had an educational podcast blaring in my ears. I even got some books, which at the time was something I haven't done since fucking middle school, and it felt great. After all, I was finally being productive. I was changing my life. So when I walk the dog, content. When I'm cooking, content. When I'm in the gym, content. This constant dopamine drip left me in a perpetual state of anticipation. It's like the final piece of the puzzle. The video, the podcast, the tip, the quote that would change everything was just around the corner, but it never was. In fact, I already had more than enough answers to begin solving some of my immediate problems in my life, but I just kept consuming, having no idea that what I actually was doing was killing my attention span, killing my memory, and worst of all, was suppressing the very mental processes that would lead me towards the answers I seeked. So if my mind was a cup and the information was water, this is all I was doing. Just a constant overflowing of information, and now, as you can see, like the cup, my memory was shit. I was always full, always new water entering in, so I wasn't really holding on to any original water anyways, when in reality, what I needed to do was put some water in the cup, take the water, and water some of my seeds so that they may grow and we may prosper. But instead, I just kept on consuming, making a giant mess. So while we may consume 34 gigabytes of media in a day, our conscious mind only processes 0.003 gigabytes. And I'll still have friends that tell me, no dude, you don't get it. My TikTok For You page, it's actually pretty educational. This isn't bad at all. So essentially, we're letting all of this content pour into our subconscious mind, quite literally programming us, and yet we can only process and control a micro percentage of it. But not only that, when you're in a constant state of consumption, you're actually completely blunting the creative processes of your mind to allow you to have creative ideas and thoughts, as well as creative problem solving for any issues you're facing in life. Because how any creative process works is you take in some form of an input at some point, and it goes into your subconscious and it ruminates in there, in the back of the mind, when you're sleeping, when you're awake, no matter what, it's working on it. And then if you give it a chance to surface the new idea, thought, whatever, it will. But if you're constantly consuming media, content, information, whatever, you will never give your subconscious a chance to surface those very things. This is why so many people say they have their best ideas when they're in the shower, because it's the only time of the day they go 5 to 10 minutes without their fucking phone. And if you're interested in the best way to detox your mind and to build the skill of noticing things arise from the subconscious so you can be even better at grabbing bits of information, having good organic thoughts, solving the problems in your life, then check out my free 5-day guided meditation series in the description below after this video. If you took a kid from 20 years ago and threw him in a backyard, he will find some sticks and turn into a wizard or a soldier. If you took a kid from now without his iPad and threw him in the backyard, he might himself. Also, if we're honest with ourselves, even me, most of the time the valuable content we're consuming is mindless consumption. We're just getting that little extra dopamine boost or kind of protecting our self-image, our ego, because it's more of a self-improvement or educational piece of content than watching a Mr. Beast video. So first things first, you need to reduce your consumption. Blaise Pascal, world-renowned French mathematician, said that all of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone. And trust me, I am fully aware that this is so much easier said than done. In the modern day, it's almost impossible to get information that isn't tainted with tons of dopamine releases and emotional triggers to hook and addict you so that you consume their next piece of content. And I would know because obviously I use some of these tactics, but unlike the majority of creators on this platform, I aim to share so much value that I would be doing you a disservice if I didn't hook you in or if I was too boring and you left. In life, you will reach a point where you have all the answers necessary to take some form of action on your current problem or your current goal you're trying to achieve, and yet you won't. And this may be because you simply don't have a strong enough why to drive you, but also because you have too low of self-trust. You think that you need more information to be so overly sure of yourself before taking one step, or you need someone to hold your hand and baby you along the way because you don't trust yourself to do it alone. So you're like how I was a few years ago. You keep consuming the information, you think the answer is just around the corner, when in reality, the answer is an amalgamation of bits of information you've already consumed. And you just need to craft it into the perfect framework or protocol that works for you. This is actually exactly how I had my self-improvement transformation and created mental mastery. But after going through a season of your life, lowering your consumption and focusing more on action and applying things, taking the water and watering your seeds instead of just overflowing the cup, there will be seasons where you do need to learn. After all, there's so much information out there that can save you years of your life on whatever journey you're trying to take. So when you do pick up that book, open that computer, check your phone to consume, you need to exercise intentional consumption. Leave the mindless consumption to the NPCs of the world. For you, exercise mindfulness similar to when you're meditating, when you are on YouTube, reading the book, reading a certain document, anything that requires taking in new content, taking in new information. And then, this is crucial because we retain way less than we think. You need to create a data bank, either physical such as a journal or digital like Notion, Notes, a Google document, where when you're navigating this sea of information and you find those bits that actually do scream at you, that you're like, oh, there's something here, something valuable, something I can use either soon or in the future, you will take it and dump it into your bank. What that does is instead of letting the cup overflow with water, you have another cup to put some of the water in. And then you can have more water to water your seeds. And it's actually going to be the best way for you to retain information because, let's be honest, most likely as humans, we need to hear things over and over and over until we really get it in. That's why Andrew Tate was so successful at spreading his ideas, because he said kind of the same thing on 100+ podcasts. So instead of being in a constant state of brand new or differently packaged information, you can go into your bank and really reinforce these core ideas that you want to digest into your subconscious and use in the future. I've just recently realized that I need to enter a season of action and of allowing all of the past information I've consumed to digest in my mind. There are plenty of books, podcasts, and YouTube videos that will catch my eye right now, and I know that it would actually be doing me a disservice to watch, listen, or read them, because I currently need to enter the season of action. A season of letting all of this past information that I've been learning truly metabolize in my mind and solidify and be applied in the perfect way for me. And if you've made it this far in the video, I can tell that you want to become a better version of yourself, a higher version of yourself that makes all of the goals you want to reach capable. And if that is the case, I highly recommend this video where I give you my entire guide to self-reinvention. These are secret methods to completely change your identity and reprogram your mind to become that version of yourself. That's it. I hope you got way more value out of this video, way more good information that you can apply than entertainment, but I hope you're entertained. But that's it. Bye-bye. Was this worth the bit? Was this worth the education? Yes.